Conservatives fired up today after a big win in Texas. Tea Party favorite Ted Cruz cruising to a victory. Sarah Palin helping him to rev up the base just days before the vote. Proof the Tea Party movement is anything but dead. To former vice presidential nominee and Alaska governor and friend of mine, Governor Sarah Palin, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on a big win in Texas, Governor.
That was a big win for Texas. It'll be a good win for all of America with this constitutional conservative getting there to really represent all of us who want to defend this republic.
Well, so tell us, how does a guy who gets outspent 3-1 by Mr. Dewhurst round, I think Dewhurst beat him originally, but not by a wide enough margin to not require the recall or the follow-up vote. How does he win with so much money going the other way?
Well, I think that this sends a message that he who has the most money and the highest paid expert consultants, quote unquote, does not necessarily come out on top, obviously. I think what Dewhurst's campaign did was underestimated the wisdom of the people. And people in Texas and across America have been saying, you know, no more business as usual, no more of that establishment embracement of status quo that's spinning us into oblivion in Washington, D.C. We want reformers to come in there, take our tax dollars back from politicians who are spending us into oblivion, put government back on our side. And Dewhurst's campaign was full of these high-paid expert consultants who, by the way, have lost race after race after race recently. In fact, one of them I know well through reputation because he worked for an opponent of mine as I ran for governor, and I beat him back then, too. And this same fella is one of those consultants who hasn't won any races because he's not resonating with the people. His message is basically just business as usual, more the same, go along to get along, right. And people are tired of that. We can't afford it.
Governor, I know it's a title you may not want, but people are starting to use it around Kingmaker. Governor Palin, Kingmaker. Cruz Dewhurst, you back Cruz, he wins. Murdoch Lugar, Murdoch takes out a guy who's been in the Senate for 36 years. Mike Lee beats Bob Bennett, who's been around for 18 years. You backed Mike Lee. Can you weigh in on what Bob Bennett said about the Tea Party? Take a listen to what he had to say. We want your response.
And it's not going to be nearly as big a factor in this election as it was in 2010.
So what about that, Governor?
Well, bless his heart, he's a wee bit out of touch. You know, the Tea Party wasn't receding, nor was it dead in 2010 when the Tea Party defeated this senator-turned-lobbyist in Washington, D.C. And certainly the Tea Party is not receding, nor is it dead in the 2012 election, as evidenced by Cruz last night, as evidenced by people doing so well, say in Missouri, Sarah Stillman, say in Nebraska, Deb Fischer. Throughout the country, you are going to see many Tea Party patriotic type average Americans who have put their names forward in the name of service to our country to take government back, get it off our backs and put it back on our side. You're going to see a whole lot of these Tea Party backed candidates do extremely well, as evidence of the Tea Party being alive and well.
Alive and well. Governor, what about the convention now? If I were Governor Romney, I'd be saying, let's get, what's Governor Palin's, what's the area code in Wasilla, Alaska? Let's get her on the line here. Has he extended an invite to you for the convention at the end of this month?
You know, some of his people have talked to some of my people, quote unquote, the staff that I have at the Political Action Committee. I just want to help, and my PAC, we just want to help, and sometimes helping means you step aside and you don't, certainly you don't invite yourself into a leadership or speakership type role in a convention like this. You try to work with the strategy that the campaign has in place, and evidently Romney's campaign has a strategy that they will implement. And whether I'm there or not as a speaker, I'm comfortable either way, just like Newt Gingrich said he was comfortable either way, speaking or not. I will continue, though, Eric, to really focus on those down-ticket races, those Senate and House races, right, that will be so instrumental in reforming government, shrinking it, allowing the private sector to grow and thrive.
Very important, very important. But I know something going on the left. I noticed that President Obama extended an olive branch to former President Bill Clinton. They buried that hatchet. It's well known that what was going on between the two of them. he offered him a spot, a high-profile speaking spot at the DNC, Democratic Convention. Also, Elizabeth Warren gets asked to speak there as well. They seem to be saying, let's put those things aside. Why wouldn't the right do the same thing? Why wouldn't the Mitt Romney extend it to the conservative movement, to the Tea Party movement, and say, here's a high-profile spot for Sarah Palin?
Well, I know, speaking personally, there is no hatchet to bury or olive branch that needs to be passed between Mitt Romney and myself. We have a good relationship, and I have great respect for him, and I'm so thankful that the GOP has a strong candidate who understands the private sector and what it takes to get the economy roaring again, that he will be our candidate. So I can't speak, though, for their strategy and who it is that they will choose to be participants in the convention. I will tell you, though, it's cracking me up watching what the Democrats totally, this idiotic strategy of theirs to have Elizabeth Warren, who has almost confessed to her Marxist views, these views that replicate failed European countries about redistribution of wealth and all these failed policies, and she is going to be the face of that message in the convention. I think it's very risky of the Democrats, because there are a lot of good Reagan Democrats, a lot of blue-collar, hard-working, working-class Democrats, blue dogs, who don't want to see that type of message being reflective of their entire platform, because it's a ridiculous and failed plank in a platform, these Marxist views.
All right, Governor, we'll move on to another subject. I have a lot of time with you. I wish I had 20 more minutes with you. But Newsweek recently put up a cover of Governor Romney, and they called him, they put his face there, and they used big letters, wimp. Now, what's with the mainstream media, Newsweek specifically? Why are they so obvious with their bias towards the liberal causes?
It's so obvious, it's almost, I don't even know if it's worth discussing, Eric, because here's what the lamestream media continues to do. And I and others warned GOP strategists and GOP candidates that no matter who that GOP nominee would be coming out of our primary process, they would have to run against not just President Obama's billion-dollar campaign war chest and his union thuggery influenced by leaders in the union and all the PACs and special interests that would be backing. This nominee of ours would have to be running against the lapdogs in the mainstream media and the yellow journalism that they practice. So we're seeing that. What, the irony, I think, is what we're seeing is so many in that GOP establishment, they had sat back on the sidelines. They were just kind of sucking it all in when this was happening to other people in the party in the last 4 years. Now they're getting a taste of it, and they're realizing what it is that we had been warning them about. It's not fair, but it's a given. We just work harder. We get our message out there more articulately, more clear, and use more common sense to reach the common man, if you will, average, everyday, hardworking Americans who know what's going on.
All right, Governor, I have one more piece. I want you to take a listen to a Democrat from a Colorado representative, but before you do, take a deep breath, because this is really going to make your head explode when you listen to what he had to say about the Colorado massacre and Obamacare. Listen.
Stop the discrimination against people with prior illnesses or injuries, or say some of the folks who were shot in the theater, they would be uninsurable now that they've had that wound. But under the Affordable Care Act, they can't be discriminated against starting in 2014.
Governor, that was Democrat Representative, I believe it's Ed Perlmutter.
Well, that is absolutely disgusting that he would so politicize such a tragedy, this evil act of the gunman just massacring innocent people. He would politicize this at a time like this. I think it's disgusting. He has no class. Furthermore, on the merits, argue on the merits, this idea that there's no way that they would be insurable had it not been for this government takeover of 1/6 of our economy via Obamacare, the mother of all unfunded mandates. This guy, his comments, they're out of whack, they're inappropriate, they're disgusting.
All right, Governor, we're going to have to leave it there. Appreciate your time. And again, Chick-fil-A, you said you're going to hit the Chick-fil-A right after after this interview.
Yeah, going to Chick-fil-A. We're on our way to Missouri to help out in a campaign in the Nebraska and Iowa, but today we're in Phoenix where there's good Chick-fil-A and can't wait to eat those waffle fries and spicy chicken.
Great to see you. Best of Todd and the family. We'll talk to you very soon.